Hey guys and gals, what is good? What is good today? What is good? How do you do? Let's go. Appreciate you hitting that play button. Appreciate you dropping by, checking out the content. Lurkers and twerkers, sandwich making workers. Let's go! I just threw that in. It was kind of funny, actually. It was all random, guys. Just random. All right, let's go. Appreciate you watching the content. Thank you, guys and gals, for the views. Much love for that. It means a lot. It truly does. It's great to see those dropping by, wanting to learn to code. This is great. It really is. Man, you guys are all beautiful, intelligent people, aren't you? Let's go. 120 and higher IQ club. Turn it up. Let's go. Whew. She's warms today's. I wish I could have the fan on. I want the fan on, but I'm worried there's going to be too much fan background noise. It is currently almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Woo! Wow. Man, a lot of you love that. You sure love that heat. That's okay. That's your thing. There's nothing wrong with it. Us northerners, we're used to it being cold or cooler. So, yeah, it's just what we're used to, right? Yeah. I'm melting. It feels so stagnant and humid and muggy all at the same time. But let's go. Doing this for you guys and gals. Let's go. I'm just kind of, starting the stream here. Saying hellos to you guys and gals, those of you that are dropping by and watching, every single one of you legends, appreciate you. I guess quickly I'll shout you guys and gals out. If you want just to get straight to the learning stuff, by all means, if it's not live, just generously skip forward to the sections that you want to, get to. That is great. I love it. I love it when you want to learn and just get right to it. Let's go. That's so awesome. Man. Okay, there we go. Let's bring up the program. Might as well. And then we're going to continue. We're continuing with the variables. Variables are not so bad, guys and gals. Not so bad. Let's see. Right. I'm looking for this and recent subscribers, followers. I have you all kind of saved here in my document. Let's go. Shout outs. Shout outs to latest supporters, Twitch fam, brothers and sisters. Let's go. Here we go. This is you, Nicole Trace, 66, Bart number 1, Jim Jam, 1238, Kazert, 20, Gavin, 555, Kamikaze, ML. Okay, don't kamikaze yourself, my guy. I love you. I want you to stick around and watch the content. Appreciate you. Kamikaze. All right. I care, bro. I care. Okay. And lastly, let's go turn it up for I Ducky. Let's go. I need a quack quack sound. That's what I need. Man, I really need to get better prepared, don't I? Guys. Quack quack sound. Okay? We need a quack quack duck sound. Quack quack. No, not a song. Here we go. Is this it? That kind of works. Except I wish I could just play it a whole bunch of times. That's a lot faster, for sure. And then there's... They got the sound quite a bit early, and then there's like 2 or 3 seconds of... Yeah. Okay, what's this one? Okay, get canceled. As soon as you go to a commercial, that's it. Bye. Bye. Commercial was not invited. Commercial is not wanted. Okay. Hey guys, here's a little tip for you on YouTube. If those commercials kind of force themselves into your video watching lifestyle, just hit the refresh, you know, the little circle at the top left of your screen. If I don't know, this is for PC, I don't know how you guys would do it on. There's a refresh, a reload this page button. Look for that. Hit reload. Wow, it's great, man. Gets rid of them commercials like quick, and then it brings up your video. Now the only thing is, right, this is tips and tricks from WT Gaming Productions, blah blah blah, for you guys and gals, right? Quick tips. Now, if you've been watching the video for, I don't know, let's say you're into it for 15-20 minutes or whatever, depending on the length of the video, just pay attention to where you were, the time frame in your video, because sometimes if you reload, it'll start it from the beginning. But the greatest thing about it, it immediately gets rid of them commercials. It's great. Check it out. Try it out, guys. All right, you heard it here on Whiskey Tango Coding. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. All right, there's the shout outs, and this is for you guys and gals. We're kind of just getting the stream going here, getting into the vibes, and yeah, we're gonna eventually get going here shortly. This is for you supporters, followers, lurkers and twerkers, sandwich making workers. This is for you. Let's go, let's go, let's go. That's right, that's right, that's right. That's for you guys, gals, brothers, sisters. I may have to turn the fan on, guys. Just hold up. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of have no choice. I got something trying to block the air molecules, if you will. But I care about my PC and that, and I need to obviously keep the content going. I don't need to overheat it. Man, it'd be nice to have like an air conditioner, but of course, that does not exist over here. Okay, one last thing I wanted to, let's see, just one last thing I want to find. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. That's fine. Okay, how's it going, you guys and gals? Ready to learn? Ready to learn? Let's do this. Flick that switch in the old brain cranium. Turn it into learning mode. When you flick the switch, you just went bool. Learning equals true. Let's go. Okay, we were last working on defining variables. Okay, we're gonna get into the course outline here, guys, gals. Let's do this. Now, I don't really want to read kind of that stuff, but I'm going to try to continue on. So, we had this example going on. And let's see, those were all unsigned shorts. So, they really just have some new variables. Let's say you're working on, I don't know, length and let's say area. I guess could be a square. Well, not really a square, but I mean, technically speaking, it would still work. Maybe a rectangle shape of some sort. And then the formula would be area equals, and then I'm just gonna go like this. I double click it. Just double click, it highlights it instantly, and boom, boom. All right, that's a little quick editing tip. Okay, I hover my cursor over the variable, I double click, and then you can see how it instantly highlights it. It's nice, I love it. And of course, make sure you update your console out. Okay, I could build that, no issues. So, now you're creating variables that they're pretty much public variables. They're local variables to the main function. And we do have a calculation going on, a little multiplication formula. And then we're returning the area. But, obviously we don't have any real values, so we should get 0, which we do. Program's working. Again, guys, gals, if your console pops up here, that means everything's good. You are just ducky. You get how I did that? Just ducky. You like that? You like that? Let me just do this, like this. And, oh. I don't know. Why not? We might do that for a little while, guys. Hope you don't mind. Okay. Let me clean out my history here. Get rid of the unnecessary stuff. Let's see. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right. Cool. Okay. Continuing on, so if you compile these programs, your compiler will warn that the values are not initialized. Okay, so the reason it's saying that, I've actually initialized them, but in the course outline, this is what their script looks like. Okay, so, and it's true. You can see at the bottom here, it's saying error list. In the error list, saying is not initialized, right? I've gone over this, right? Remember, guys, gals, there's certain keywords in the coding language, also known as coding lingo. Okay. Int. ducky equals, I don't know how old you are, so I guess it's not an age. Just I'm going to pick some random number. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so what I've done here is I've declared, right? Declare the data type, created our variable name, and initialized, right? So that's what the word, that's the key word. The coding lingo language. You see the word initialized? That's what it means. So here it's showing line 38 and 39, not initialized. So I could click this and you can see that it's recommending just make it equal to 0. Okay? But we already had that, so we aren't going to worry, but that's what that means, okay? Clearly, the purpose of the second program is easier to guess, which is, I guess, this is what they're talking about. And the inconvenience of having to type the longer variable names is more than made up for by how much easier it is to understand, and thus maintain the second program. I'm not sure what they mean by program. I guess they're calling this a program. Okay. If you say so, Bob. It's pretty small, but okay. Get to know the coding lingo. Okay, guys, get to know the coding lingo. It's very important. All right. I'll just cut this out. Local variables to the main. I'm just gonna go like that, and then I'm gonna go like this. Okay, just to get it out of the way. All right. This actually should be there. Should be here. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's better. And then since we got that kind of yelling at us, let's fix this quickly. There we go. And build. Okay, carrying on. Case sensitivity. Okay, so that means upper and lower case. That's what they mean by case sensitivity. C++ is case sensitive. In other words, uppercase and lowercase letters are considered to be different. Right? If we talk about the ASCII table again, right? That's the main reason, guys. Let me see if I can find, is this it here? Yeah. Right here, right? Each character on our keyboard is associated with an ASCII number or an ASCII code, if you will. Okay? That's why they're different. Okay? They have their own like correlation value or number. All right? That's kind of, I don't know. I'm sure it's in the library or built in somewhere in your file system somewhere, but that's all you really need to know, okay, that it exists, and each character on your keyboard is associated with an ASCII value, okay? Okay, I don't know if it's this heat or what is it, man, just drains the old brain. All right, let's keep going. A variable named age. So what they have is they have int age and int age, for example. Okay. I'm just gonna clean this up because we're done with that. All right. So you can clearly see they are two variables and they are two different variables. Okay. So, This may be kind of bad in code because if you, let's say maybe you're talking about two different people and maybe this is age for person 1 and this is age for person 2, and if you kind of use this value for person 2, let's say, you could have the incorrect information coming out of your program, so you got to be aware of stuff like that. Yeah, we'll get more into variables. Again, create variables that are kind of unique to something, right? You'll see. We'll see. Okay, continuing on. A variable named age is different from age, which is different from... and they even have another one. AGE, right? They're all different. Okay, just because it says age doesn't mean they're all the same, right? Some compilers allow you to turn case sensitivity off. We're not going to be doing that. So I'm not going to be doing that. And I don't recommend you do that. I'm sure you could figure it out in settings somehow, but I would get used to writing variables upper and lowercase, like for example, int my age. We're going to get into this more. Okay? Right? So we're going to be creating variable types like this. This is a better, well, it's a little bit better one, okay? I mean, we could improve on it, but we're starting to create variables that kind of make sense, right? All right, so naming conventions. Various conventions exist for how to name variables. I know a lot of you can't see the screen. Maybe, I know you can, if you're watching, you can see the screen, but maybe some of you, I wish I could kind of turn this into more of a audio book for you guys and gals. I wish it could be that way. A lot of you might want to learn that way, but you need the visuals as well. So, I mean, I guess I could kind of say I've typed age all lowercase, and then I typed age again, uppercase, lowercase g, lowercase e, but that would kind of get, yeah. The thing with with coding, you kind of need to see things visually, right, to learn as well. And it'd be nice with the theory and such. Theory and such would be perfect for an audio book. It really would. But you need to see examples as well. Okay, and although it doesn't much matter which method you adopt, it is important to be consistent throughout your program. So basically, when you're creating your variables, try to be consistent. Okay, don't be like doing weird stuff. Like you're gonna see different styles, but maybe going like this and like this. And just doing a bunch of weird different stuff. Okay, like this maybe, don't be doing that, right? Be consistent. Okay, so pick a style and stick to it. Now we're gonna get into some what's the word? There's like standards, okay? So we'll get into some standards. It depends on what you're doing in your program, but we actually have some kind of guidelines which actually helps making it easier for creating your variable names. The only thing is just coming up with a name, right? The way you type your variable is kind of what I'm talking about in regards to standards and guidelines, okay? Okay, inconsistent naming will confuse other programs when they read your code. It'll just look weird, right? It'll look very kindergarten-y. It's got to look professional too, guys. Many programmers prefer to use all lowercase letters for their variable names, okay? Which is true, right? So in this case, now, we haven't really talked about classes and such much, but I'm going to type the word public. And right now, these are kind of, I don't mean to use the word public, but hopefully it helps you understand. So using words like local and global would kind of make sense too, but these variables are local to this main function. So basically, when you go outside of the curly brackets, it's kind of like becomes like another area. We'll do examples to kind of better explain that. This kind of what I have here doesn't really work for explaining because it's just an int main function that we have here. When we have more bodies, then it'll make more sense. I guess, yeah, this would work. This actually would work. So when I do this, what I'm doing is I'm creating a new scope. Here I have a scope, right? Brother and sister curly bracket. And this actually might work. Let's see if it works. I'm gonna go like this. Oh, goodness gracious, what happened there? Okay, there. Okay, so I've got these. Okay, this is actually might be a good example. Let's see if this works. So these variables are inside this scope, okay? Or body code block, right? So if I try to use this variable in my code, it should see it, okay? Let's say I changed the value, okay? So now I changed it from 0 to 9. You can see the coloration of the characters are matching, so everything looks good. So, but if hopefully this works. Now if I type this, there, it did work. Okay, so this actually works. This is perfect. So I've created a new scope. All right, you can see the point is when I when I declare a new value for age, here it recognizes it because it's inside the scope. It's local to this scope. Okay, but as soon as I get outside this last curly bracket, now I'm actually in the main scope. So if I had, local to this scope, okay, or these two curly brackets. I'm trying to explain it, guys, without, right? I don't want to confuse you, so bear with me, please bear with me. Okay, so these variables are local to this scope or these two curly brackets, right? And the int main has its own scope. So if you check this out, you can see that I use that variable age again, but the program's going, well, it does not exist. That's because it's outside this scope, okay? Now, if I actually take this value, Control X, and put it up here, boom, it'll actually, look at that. It actually, so it's above this scope. Now it becomes a global thing. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Even though we're inside this int main, we've kind of created a situation where anything inside these curly brackets is local to inside here, inside this block of code. Okay? I didn't mean to go on a tangent, but just be aware of this. Now when we start doing more code like this, you'll have a better understanding. So just be aware, right? And if you notice, I put int age outside these brackets, so it's now become global. So it's seen, right? This variable is seen throughout. It's even seen inside here because it's above all of it. Okay, All right, I'm going to continue on. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of weird, but these curly brackets is kind of like, I don't know, let's say it's like putting a blanket over somebody and hiding them. Okay? I don't know if that is a good example or not, but it's kind of like that. So if I take this variable, Control X, and put it back here, anything inside this blanket, we could pretend the curly brackets are a blanket, okay? And you're hiding stuff, kind of thing, right? So age is seen here because it's all underneath the blanket, okay? It's all local to this block of code. But outside the blanket, it can't be seen, okay? I hope that helps. Like, I'm kind of just winging it here, guys, trying to explain this to help you understand. All right, so this is the line by line stuff that's kind of important. It's not just, oh, code runs line by line, gets to a function, goes back. There's a little bit more going on, right? Especially if you're adding curly brackets, right? Int main has its own scope or block of code, and then I created this new scope, right? And yeah, so you can see, so this is unknown right here. The program's like, what is this? Does not exist. But as soon as I take this, cut it, and put it above, now it becomes global to all of Maine. I wish I could show it all, but I got too much going on here. Let me just kind of shrink this a little bit. Okay, we don't normally have so many variables everywhere because normally we int age. What? Why is that one like that? That's strange. Normally you would put your variables kind of above here, right? That's kind of common. That way it could be seen throughout. Okay, the ones that we're in declaring and initializing is typically kind of at the top, all right, so that it can be seen globally. I don't know if global is the right word, but yeah, so global inside this scope. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to I feel like I'm overdoing it, and I apologize, guys. Just kind of compressing it all so you can see it. Okay, all right, let's continue. I'll stop at that. We'll see more of that, okay, guys and gals. So like if you're making a program and you have this happen, right, where the variables is kind of ghosted, you'll be pulling your hair going, what's going on? Why is it doing that? That's because it's outside. This is outside the scope. All right. Again, think of it like a blanket. We're kind of hiding it. Okay, can't be seen outside this curly bracket, and that's why that's happening. All right. That's not really part of the course outline, but I kind of threw that in for you guys and gals, okay? All right, let me continue. I hope you appreciate it. Let's see, where was I? Many programmers prefer to use all lowercase letters for their variable names, right? Again, I use the word public normally, and that's true. Normally, uppercase is for constants. Like, for example, I would say, let's go pi, except pi is not. Let's use a double. Pi is actually 3.14, okay? So anything uppercase is typically for constants. Now I know I'm writing this early, but that's short for constant. And the reason that's done so that the value can't be changed. It's kind of like putting a lock on a variable. Okay? Anyways. If the name requires 2 words, for example, my car, right? We have my age, so int my car. Okay, 2 popular conventions are used. My underscore car depends on your style, but that is another style. A lot of times these are used for private. Okay, that's why I'm bringing up these words now because you're going to hear public and private when we eventually get into classes. Okay, a lot of times private variables are written like this, or actually like this. Okay, these are the subtle differences. Again, this is part of the there's like guidelines that we have for creating like the way we write our variables. Like again, you have to come up with the name of the variable, but the way you write it or type it in code, there are guidelines. Okay, now they're not set in stone, but and again, you're gonna have to pick that style, right? Here's a bunch of recommendations for guidelines for writing variables, and you just pick a style, pick what you like. All right, we'll see more, but there's different variations. Okay, and my car. Okay, so, and then this one here would be written like if it's public. Okay, again, you don't really need to know this stuff now. Once we get into classes, you're going to see that. But you might as well have an idea about it now, right? And by the time we get to classes, you know, hopefully you guys are still watching. I'll continue doing this. I don't know if it's a me thing. I hope my teaching habits are not terrible, guys. I don't know. I really don't know. I can't read minds. I am trying over here, though. Okay. The latter form is called camel notation because the capitalization looks something like a camel's hump. So the latter meaning, well, actually in this case now it's the former. So they're talking about this. So that's camel case. Okay? And I'll show you some examples. We'll get there if I could just get through this reading. Some people find the underscore character, my car underscore car, to be easier to read. I mean, yeah, it kind of is. But others prefer to avoid the underscore. Again, the underscore, this is all part of the guidelines. Underscores are typically used for private variables. Okay? Just be aware. Everything that we're kind of typing here right now is kind of public. We have nothing that's hidden. Except as soon as you create a new scope, you're technically speaking hiding stuff, but it's not the same thing, guys. It's kind of like, yeah, I don't want to get back into that again. I gotta stop. Hopefully you understood what I was trying to get at. Okay, so this course uses camel notation, which is perfect because that's what I like to use. Here's another example. You'll see kind of stuff like this. Now, normally we don't write this kind of stuff, but here's a variable that's created. Maybe you're doing writing a program that has animals in it or something. I don't know. you wouldn't because this isn't really descriptive. All it is saying, all we're doing is saying, hey, there's a quick brown fox. That's all. The variable doesn't really explain what it's used for or what its purpose is. Okay? Many advanced programmers employ a notation style referred to as Hungarian notation. The idea behind Hungarian notation is to prefix every variable with a set of characters that describes its type. Now, guys, just as a heads up, let me just show you here, okay? My notes. Okay, hopefully that doesn't move. Okay, I'll show you my notes. Again, this is part of my novel that I have on GitHub. I'll show it to you right here, and then I can kind of continue on. This might be a little bit easier. It's a better visual for you. Variable names, naming conventions, the variations of. Okay, C++ is case sensitive. Okay, so we have the snake case, right? That's called snake case with the underscore. Again, you can see the notes here for private access modifiers and or specifiers. Okay, this is part of the guidelines. So when you start working with classes and private variables, you'll use that style of notation. Okay. Pascal case, typically for classes, I believe. And then you have camel case, which we kind of talked about. There's two words here, right? The first word is lowercase, the second word has the uppercase. And then here's the Hungarian notation, okay, that we're about to talk about. Okay, Hungarian notation, first declare what the data type is, int, right? So you can see here that it has an I in front. So be aware, guys, right? When we're declaring the variable to be an int. But somewhere down your code, you're not going to keep writing ints, right? This variable is going to be used somewhere down your code. It could be 500 lines down your code. It could be 1,000 lines down. So somebody reading your code will get to this variable and just look at it and go, oh, it's an integer value, right? So you know what it does. You know what it is. You know it's an integer variable. Okay, so take note though. Variable names tells them that its data type is an integer. For example, I welcome viewers. Note, although Microsoft has recently moved away from and recommends not using this type of notation, all right? So again, the course outline I'm going through is a number of years old, but the theory is all the same, guys, okay? All right? The theory doesn't change even if it's 20-year-old theory. It's still the same. Okay, simple guidelines while creating variables or variable names. Most common, Pascal case for naming class. What the cornflakes? I never get commercials on these.
My work is easy.
Oh, you guys. That's why I play this one. I usually never... Wow. YouTube must have heard me complaining. I just had to reload it 3 times. It's brutal. I have never had a commercial in that video for so long now. Oh my goodness, I'm so parched. It's crazy. Okay. Pascal case for naming classes, right? Pascal case. right here. Okay, just as I put. Camel case for naming variables or constants. It says constants, but I have this. For now, I'm using a style where my constants, like pi, for example. You might even see one that's a macro that I'm going to use. It's from a macro. It's going to say m underscore pi. So there's two things it's saying. One, it's private, and because everything is uppercase, it tells whoever's reading your code that two things. They'll look at it. They'll look at this variable and go, "Oh, m underscore pi. Oh, well, that's telling me it's private. It's a private variable. Also, it's telling me it's a constant because everything is uppercase." Okay, so that's what I'm using now for my constants. I kind of like it. Snake case for naming private access modifiers, right? Just like I was talking about. So don't worry about the Hungarian notation, right? But for the most part, these are the three styles right here. Snake case, Pascal case, and camel case. Okay? And again, these are for private. Right? When we start writing code, you'll see that. In the naming convention field, select the spelling style. Lowercase, camel case, Pascal case, snake case, leading upper, snake case. There's like it goes kind of on and on here. Upper snake case, screaming snake case, or uppercase. Note the differences in the upper and lower cases for each letter or name of these variables. Okay, and then I kind of have a thing I'm going to show you. Okay, bear with me, guys. The heat and everything, I think it's just melting my brain today. I don't know. Let's do this. Because why not? Okay. Let's see, where is that? That is... I've got a little image for you to see. Right here. Okay, hopefully you can see it well. This I got off of JetBrains website, I believe. So here we go. So C or C++, namespaces, camel case, macros, screaming, classes. Now, this is kind of, I don't know. I think it's wrong, to be honest. Hold up. Picked the right one here. Classes should be Pascal case. So that's wrong. Okay. Structs. Same thing. Because struct and classes are one and the same. There's two differences with structs and classes. Classes are automatically set as private. Structs are set as public. Structs are good for like just basic variables, minimal information. Use classes when you want to kind of expand on. We'll get to that, okay? Enums, I don't know. I have this here, but these are all set wrong. They're not right. Okay, I don't know why I showed you that. That was a bad example. Just go with kind of what I have here, all right? Stick with that and don't go wild with it, right? Again, don't worry about that. Okay? If you want to use, I mean, if it's your own code and it's at home and you're doing your own thing and you want to use Hungarian, that's up to you. You can totally do it. But if you want to eventually work for maybe a company, per se, companies are going to have their own standards. So I recommend you kind of just get used to what the industry is kind of using. All right. Again, not every company is going to be the same, right? All right. So there's your examples. Let's keep going. I hate when I do that. It's like I'm grabbing the top of it, not sizing it. Okay. Now we got keywords. Okay, so again, take note. Hungarian C# strongly recommends not using Hungarian notation. Okay. All right. So yeah, maybe just avoid it. Right. I mean, yeah. For C++ and C#. I've never used Hungarian and C#, so that's true. Keywords. Some words are reserved by C++, and you cannot use them as variable names. Okay, take note here, guys. You cannot use these words as variable names. Okay, these keywords have special meaning, right? So basically, the keywords are special words that are used in your code, right? It may be part of your IO stream or library. Okay, so be aware of that. And I'll show you some examples here. Right, they have special meaning to the C++ compiler. Keywords such as if, while, for, main, right? You can't use main. I mean, I guess you could go my main, right? You can do that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really mean anything, to be honest. What is my main? Like, what is it, right? It has no meaning. Just imagine somebody looking at your code and going, well, I don't know what a main is. What is your main, right? Let's see. Your compiler might have additional reserved words, so you should check its manual for a complete list. Okay, so I'll just snip this so you can see some examples. Okay. Here are some examples. You could kind of, again, you could do your own snipping tool if you want and just snip this. I mean, that's what snipping tool does. It just takes a kind of like a snipping screenshot of your screen, right? And then just save it. I have like a special folder for like anything guidelines, like, for example, when I bring this up, I have a folder that has this in it, so I can reflect on it. Okay, so there we go. You can pause that. And then I got some more here. We'll give you some more here. All right, there you go. Alright, so those are words you cannot use for variable names. Alright, you will get to type these words, so don't worry about that. You'll get to use them. Okay, so keep that, right? There's no sense me reading it and all that, right? Just, it's there for you. I've given you the information. Okay, do's. Do define a variable by writing the type, right? Declaring, that's what it means. Then the variable name. So declare, then variable name, and the equal sign is to initialize it. Do use meaningful variable names, right? Like, I don't know, here for example, stores age or something, for example. Stores his age or something, right? I don't know. It's not the greatest example, but you kind of have an idea, right? Do remember that C++ is case sensitive, okay? Do understand the number of bytes each variable type consumes in memory, right? And what values can be stored in variables of that type. Okay, anytime you create variables, the key words we're going to use is static and on the stack. Okay, those two words, that statement and that word, they're kind of together. They kind of mean the same thing in regards to memory. So, static variables, these variables are static and they're stored on the stack in memory. Okay, static means not in motion. Okay, if that makes sense to you. Hopefully it does. All right. Don't use C++ keywords, okay, as variable names, just as I showed you, right? The memory thing, right? I could bring that back up. I think this is still good, except for these kind of values here are a little bit derped, but they're close, okay? This is what they're talking about. Just be aware how much memory is allocated for each data type. These are all data types, okay? Don't make assumptions about how many bytes are used, okay? Don't assume, right? What does assume mean? Don't use unsigned variables for negative numbers, right? We know this. Unsigned variables are all positive values, okay? Unsigned just means, right? If it's unsigned, that means there's no negative. Just look at it that way, okay? If whatever is easier to remember. We don't really need to write signs, but you can, I guess. Apparently. But it's not required. Okay? But you do have to be explicit about it being unsigned. Okay? That's that key word, explicit. All right? That's part of the coding lingo. Creating more than one variable at a time. You can create more than one variable of the same type in one statement. This is what I call inline. Okay? Right? So this is a lot of redundancy here, right? So instead of two lining, I'm just going to get rid of all this. I'm going to get rid of all this. Let's clean things up here. Okay? And we'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of this. Okay? So what I've done here is I've kind of three-lined all these variables. I've created three new variables. I've initialized them all to the values of 0, right? There's a better way. So let me show you. I'm going to go like this. So inline means kind of putting them kind of like in series, right? In line, in a linear fashion. So I'm going to get rid of this semicolon and I'm going to separate it by a comma. So instead of, we don't need to keep declaring all these variables as integers. So I could go like this, my car. I could also initialize it, comma again, and my main, and also equal to 0. Okay, there we go. Boom, done. That's so much cleaner. Right? Local variable names. To the, I don't know what happened to that earlier, but okay, I'm just gonna go like that. All right. Isn't that nicer? Everything's in line. All right, so you can do that as well. You don't. So basically, the program's, it knows what's up. It knows that this is a variable, also an integer. You can see it showing it right here. If you actually hover over the variable, it gives you a little information on it. You can see it says local variable. And then same thing with main, right? It knows that it's an integer. So we only, technically speaking, only need to declare it once, right? And that's the key word. You only need to declare it once. So we know that in our code, right? Typically we put our local variables at the top, right? So that they can be read down the code. But once you declare it, you don't need to declare it anymore. So we're going to reinitialize the value, and we're going to say, I don't know, we're going to change it to 9, right? We don't need to we don't need to tell the program that my age is an integer anymore, okay? I'm trying to speak here, guys. Right? You only need to declare once, all right? Be aware of that. And you can change its value somewhere down the code, right? Maybe you got some other stuff going on here, right? Whatever line code. Okay? Okay, let's continue, right? So remember, you separate it by commas. This is part of the formatting, right? Commas, all those little things, these little details, right? Remember this stuff. Okay? When you do that, you separate them by commas, but again, all statements always end with a semicolon. Okay? Always. Okay? Every statement. Even this here ends in a semicolon. Alright, I'm trying my best here, guys. Okay. Appreciate you being here and watching. I really mean that. How are we doing on the stream here? We're doing good. Alright. And okay. Wow, I'm famous. It's amazing. I'm trying to do a good thing here, really am. I don't want to go on a tangent or be negative, but I almost want to. Okay, where am I here? Okay, so we've done that. 3 long integers. I guess you could kind of start getting used to the new, I mean, this course outline uses the, let me just bring this up here. Okay, most commonly you just see people when they write their code, if you ever read other people's code, they normally just use char, or they just use int, or they just use float or double or bool. It's not common to see unsigned char or signed char or long int. It's not common, okay? As you can see, int here, the range is the same. If you look at signed int, the range is the same. And if you look at long int, the range is the same. Even the bytes in memory is the same. So commonly you'll just see people use int, because one, it's less typing. But I guess if you wanted to be explicit, you could. It's up to you. It just depends on how much of a purist you want to be, right? Again, if you're learning code and you're really pumped up and excited to learn this, which I congratulate you being here and wanting to do it, it's a drive thing, right? You got to keep your mind positive. You got to believe in yourself that you can learn this. Okay, that's kind of why I maybe over explain things because I want you guys to learn. I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be clear. And I may kind of go on and on and on and on. I do apologize, but I want you to fully understand, okay? Again, if you understand and you don't need any more instruction, it's great to have you, and we'll see you in, I don't know, however many, like, you know, however far you skip forward to the next topic or whatever. Okay? All right. So, again, just letting you know that this course is going to be using these a lot. So you'll see me typing it. Again, I don't normally use it myself as much, but for all intents and purposes, if it's your own code and you're learning and you're typing your own code, you do you. You can do you. All right, so I'm going to do kind of the easy way to initialize these to 0, and that's just by using 2 curly brackets. I like this better. So I really can't show, but if I go like this and maybe run it, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Clicked the wrong one. Okay. Right now we're not quite into this line. We need to get to the end of the line and go down a line, right? So that's what the step over does. So if I hover over, now you can see that there's 0. Okay. If I go back up, or no, that would be stepping out. Anyways, it might already have been, let me just try that again. Let's run it again. It might even show it as 0. I don't know how they did that in code. It's part of the, it's got to be part of the stuff I don't really pay attention to. Maybe the standard that they're using, right? They're always, obviously they're always kind of making things better, trying to improve, you know, things, make it easier for us to write code. They already had the value area already initialized to 0, because before, when I started doing this 3 years ago, those values, if you didn't declare them, initialize them as 0, they would store garbage. Essentially, it would just be a random hexadecimal looking value, right? Which, you know, we called as garbage. Okay, but anyways, this is good. You still have to initialize regardless. Okay, I don't know what's up, but good to see that it has the value 0, I guess. Again, you still have to initialize your values. Okay, let me try to continue here. So unsigned, we have they used unsigned. Okay, all right, so I'm going to type unsigned. I'm not really copying it verbatim. So we have 2 unsigned int variables. Of course, I have 3. And then we have 3 long integers. Okay? So again, those are the data types we're using. And just be aware of the range that we could use, right? So let me close this before I forget that it's open. So we have unsigned int and long int. Okay, unsigned int, okay, and long int. All right, you can see the differences, right? Unsigned, just remember, unsigned is positive. If it's unsigned, that means there's no negative, right? Okay, you cannot mix types in one definition statement. Can't mix types. The type long is assigned to all the variables, so you cannot mix types. Yeah, you can't mix types. I was trying to figure out what they're saying. So you can't go int my new, I'm just going to go like this for now, 0, comma, you can't go long int my, I don't know, has whatever, right? Already it's kind of going, let me just see if I can initialize it, right? It seems to have kind of, or maybe I'll go unsigned. Let's see what happens. I think that's what they're trying to get at. Now if I build it, I think there might be errors. Yeah, type unsigned int unexpected, right? You can't do that. Okay, that's kind of the point, right? That's derping, right? So if you're creating new variables, right, they all have to have the same data type. Okay, just like here, they all have to have the same data type. Okay, you can't mix and match. You assign a value to a variable by using the assignment operator equals, right? So we've already kind of done that. So you might as well get that lingo in your head. Assignment operator, right? It's assigning. We'll talk about that again in the future, near future. Thus, you assign a value to width by writing. So let me just go like this. Width. All right, so we've already kind of did that, but I guess I'll explain it. So there we go. We're assigning the value 9 to width, right? Again, we could, if we knew the value of width, we could go like this, right? That works too. You can actually assign a value in line like that too. Let me build that. Should get rid of that error now. See, that works. Okay, here we're just assigning it 0. Here we're giving it a value 9. Here we're giving it a value 0. Okay, so if I click this, and then skip over, width should be 9. There you go. Okay, boom. All right, so this is legal. Okay, so it's up to you. You could keep it like this. Maybe you want it to begin at 0. And then down your code somewhere, you could reinitialize its value. Right? Values can change based on arithmetic calculations too, guys. It's not just a human changing the value, so be aware of that. Your formulas or your arithmetic calculations will change values too, right? Okay. Long is a shorthand version of long int, and short is a shorthand version of short int. So you don't need this int, right? We could type short man and girl. Okay, I used the wrong brackets. Gotta hold shift to do that. Okay, I just said that for random, whatever. You know, so the point is you don't need to write int. Okay, that's the point. Okay, you can combine the steps of creating a variable and assigning a value to it. For example, you can combine these two steps for width variable by writing. I don't know why I'm already kind of explaining this stuff ahead of time, but let me get rid of width. And then I'm going to go like this and just write what they're writing or showing. Whoops, I wrote it twice. Okay, unsigned short width equals 9. Whatever, doesn't really matter. The value doesn't matter. So you can combine the steps of creating a variable and assigning a value to it. So basically, I've already showed this to you guys and gals. I apologize if it seems repetitive, but I'm trying to follow the course outline. And I guess I jumped the gun a little bit. Again, here we're declaring variable and we're initializing. So the point is that's what they're trying to say. Declare, initialize. Declare, initialize. Okay? You could do that all in line. This initialization looks very much like the earlier assignment when using integer variables like width. The difference is minor. Later, when const is covered, I've already kind of talked about it briefly, right? We all know what const, actually it's a float or a double. Which one has less? Let me just have a look. I can't remember. That's why I have this, so that I could kind of remember. Double float takes less, uses less memory. So float and m underscore pi. I'm using this, even though there's a macro. Technically speaking, that's not a macro. 3.14. Okay. Const. So remember when I was saying that your values can be changed down code with like arithmetic calculation of sorts? The const basically keeps this constant, so it's never changed. It basically means that the value that's stored in this variable is locked. It cannot be changed. Okay, so that's what the const does. So we're actually being explicit and saying, hey program, nobody could force this value to be changed, whether it's a user or the program itself. Okay, all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. That makes sense? I hope so. It's kind of like locking it out. That value cannot be changed. All right, you will see that some variables must be initialized because they cannot be assigned a value at a later time, right? So the point is, if I go like that, it's gonna argue, right? That's the point. It has to be initialized. Const has to be initialized. It's a must. Okay, that's kind of the point. Just as you can define more than one variable at a time, right, inline, you can initialize more than one variable at creation. Kind of like I was showing you guys earlier, right? Let's see, I could go like this, right? I can initialize it inline as well. That's legal. This example initializes the long integer, variable width, it doesn't matter, length, whatever. You can even mix definitions and initializations. You can, I don't know why, that just seemed odd what they were saying. Int, my age, this could be like this. I mean, I don't know why I would do it like that, but let's say the values are different, right? Okay, this is legal as well. Okay, and this one could be equals to 0. All right, that's all legal. You won't have any compile errors. Compile errors are all your static and anything that the compiler needs prior to running it. Okay, static. And whenever we create a variable and initialize it, all this is being stored on stack memory. Okay, it's got to be stored. It's stored somewhere right now. Remember, it's all stored on RAM. So just think of before you even run the program, just think of it as static RAM, right? This is stored statically on RAM, right? It's got to be stored somewhere. And take note that the value is stored into the variable. Okay, just like we're showing here, right? So if I run this and then I skip over, you'll see my age is 39, right? My car is 0, and if I could hover over that, my main is 41. Okay? Every variable has an address, and at that address, right, kind of like I was saying yesterday, right? My house, for example, okay, equals 5, right? That was a good example. I'll just keep it as an int, just to keep it simple, right? My house has an address, and inside that house has 5 people, right? Okay. Almost out of coffee. I'm parched today, guys. And I keep doing this because I'm enjoying doing this and teaching and helping you guys learn. I would just wish there was a lot more interest. I don't want to go on a tangent, but it's like, man, people, like, you waste your life with too much drama and what else not? Toxic videos and whatever they're watching. I'm not saying you guys, but the vast majority of the public, it's like, man, do you guys, like, all right, I'm gonna stop. All right, let's carry on. Let's all get intellectual. Again, I'm on the right, guys, okay? I'm on the right. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right, brains and brawn. Okay, this example creates 3 types int variables, and it initializes the first, my age, and third, his age, blah, 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 blah. I don't really need to do this, do I? I'm already kind of showing you guys in code here anyways. We could technically do a calculation. We could. I mean, do you guys want to see that? Let's clear this all up. All right. Unsigned short. So that means they're all positive values. I don't need to write width. I mean int. Width equals 5, comma, length. And then I'm just gonna initialize it to the value of 0. Okay? And so now, I mean, this isn't really the normal way you would, normally we would initialize it in line, but I'll show you guys. You can do this if you want. Okay? Gutha. I'm just gonna copy it. Okay? I know it's not spelled right. I don't care. Okay, so you can do that, right? We did this is saying it's equal to 0. And then here I'm kind of reinitializing it somewhere down code. Create an unsigned short and initialize with the result of multiplying width by length. Okay, so we're going to create a new formula. Okay, we're declaring it. We want to use unsigned short values. All right, unsigned shorts are, there's the range. So that's reasonable. Hold up, unsigned shorts, shorts. Here, there we go. Let's look at the right one. So all positive values, right? Now, if you know that your output or return value is going to be less than 65,000, again, this is a comma, guys, right? Know your range too, right? Knowing your range is critical. So we're assigning 1 byte of memory for what we're doing here. Unsigned short, we're going to call it area, and we're doing everything in line. So we're declaring it. Now we're going to make it equal something. Well, it's going to equal a formula. And you can use brackets, right? Brackets are good, guys. Pedmass, bedmass. So pedmass, bedmass applies in coding, all right? Just to let you know. Hold up. I gotta clean my glasses here. I don't know why. I don't need them for reading. I don't know why I have them on, but okay. How are we doing for time? Oh, I better close this. Let me check here. Okay, half an hour still. All right, so what we've done here, basically, we've created a variable name. It's going to store whatever happens on the right-hand side, okay? I got that all typed correct, right? What? Man, I really am messing up. I don't know which is left and which is right anymore. Sorry, guys. Left-hand side equals right-hand side. My brain must be really backwards. Okay, at least I caught it because I'm like, what? Okay. Left-hand side equals right-hand side. All right, and then we're just going to return the values to the console, okay? And then we're going to return, we can return the value of width if we want. Right? And then go width. We could do it also. We could continue this. We don't need to stop. We can go like this. But we do need a space. And I'll put length. Maybe I'll just simplify it so it's less confusing. You can continue it, but I'll just keep it simple. Okay? There. Whoops. /n end. There. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy that, paste it, and then I'm going to just double click C, V, and V. There we go. And now let's return the area. Okay, let's see the calculation. And again, guys, I recommend you use your brackets. I don't think I need that extra enter. So I'm going to go like that. Control-Shift-B. Let's build it. So it's going to return, let's actually let's do it. Whoops, I have to fix it. Notice I have an error already in my code. I'm going to do a double new line. And don't forget the operators, okay? It's easy to kind of forget that, but you need the operators here still, right? The reason is because we're going from a string literal to a variable to, technically speaking, another string literal. Okay, so they have to be all separated by, again, don't let these little things, they're just overloaded operators that saying spew this out to the console. Okay, go out to the console, go out to the console. Did I fix that? It looks like it's fine. 36, 37. I don't know why it's yelling at me, but let's find out. Is it going to go away? There we go, yes. And there we go, see? Width is 5, length is 5, and the area is 25. Boom. All right. And I mean, we're just kind of keeping it basic. We're just doing basic variable stuff here in the main. We've kind of talked about functions already, right? Normally you would kind of put this into a function, but you could also do it do this kind of stuff in the main too, guys. Okay, there's nothing that says you can't. But for all intents and purposes, we're kind of just, we're at the learning stage, right, guys? So we can do this way. This is fine. Okay, include statements we've kind of talked about already enough. I think line 4 begins with main. Oh yeah, this is just explaining what's happening line by line, right? We're just initializing width to a value of 5. We're kind of doing all the declaration. We're doing the declaring and the initializing all in one line. Okay? Here we are technically speaking declaring and initializing still. So we're reassigning the value. So in this line, we're reinitializing it, essentially. And then here again, this is declaring. And it's not really initializing, but we're creating a little formula. I guess you could call it that. I don't know if that's the right way to... We're assigning it, if you will. And then this is just returning it to console stuff, right? We have to see the information, and that's how we see the information, just by using this standard library, standard namespace, right? I know I removed it already, but using namespace. Did I save that down here? Maybe I did. I'm just gonna actually namespace std. Okay, I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna try not to have too many notes here. And whoops. Oh, I did need that because that's multi-line. That's why. Okay. Using the standard namespace. Okay, creating aliases with typedef. Okay, I don't know if I should get into this, but you could do that as well. Typedef is an alias. I was kind of doing this in the beginning. I thought it'd be fun to play jokes on your friends. Like, let's say your friends know all the data types. Okay? Let's say they know all the data types, the different data types. Well, you could kind of mess with them, I guess. You could go, hey, read my code. Okay? So it has to be done above the main. What am I calling that? I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay? That's called at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to do it above here. So typedef. What's the definition of typedef? Maybe I should go into that. Typedef. Let's see if I can find that. If I remember, that was at the bottom. I've kind of been I'm looking at my 138,346 character notepad document that I have saved. Basically my C++ novel, which I haven't published. I should, but I don't think it's ready for publishing. Man, it would be a good way of me getting income, I guess, but I'm not really a writer, but again, better at mathematics and stuff. Okay, I guess I'll have to try to look for it. Typedef. I have a table of contents. I'm looking through that right now, guys. I am going to show this to you as soon as I find the general area. Typedef, there we go. It is at the bottom still. Okay, good. Now I just got to look for it. There's so much information, I don't want to, go through the whole document. So the table of contents is kind of nice. Typedefs. I should have took note. type def is somewhere around constants and number systems, special printing. Hopefully getting close here. Ah, good. I am getting close. Okay. Ooh. What? Here we go. I found it. I went right past it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Type def stands for type definition. Okay. C++ type def is simply a way of giving a new name to an existing data type. In other words, it is a reserved keyword to create an alias name for a specific data type. The function or purpose served by the data type remains unchanged. For example, type def, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to copy that. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. Boom. Okay. Type def, unsigned, short int. So I don't know why it's all uppercase, but that's fine, I guess. So we're giving it an alias. This is an alias name. So instead of typing unsigned short int all the time, you could just type ushort. Okay, that's the general consensus or idea or concept of type def. Okay, pretty straightforward, right, guys? So if I start typing some code, I can start using ushort now. And the program recognizes it because I've basically identified it ahead of time, right? So again, remember, line by line, and this is kind of the declaration part, right? We have to tell the program or the compiler, hey, we've done this, we have a type def, we're calling it ushort, and then the program will go through it and go, oh, okay, all right, that's what's up. And then it'll just kind of continue on in the main, right? Because it'll know what it is. So it's like a heads up. Now, we should be able to do that inline as well. Shouldn't be any different, right? You could still do the inline stuff. I call this inline. And then we could reinitialize it again, I guess, to a value of 12, whatever. Normally I would just do, if I already know the value, I might as well just do it right here. But for all intents and purposes, sure, let's just roll with it. Okay, so here it has a list. I typed it wrong, but the nice little pull down menu, very helpful. Okay, area equals, and I could use the brackets or not. It's a simple multiplication. We're just multiplying two values, so the brackets really are not necessary, but I recommend you get the habit of doing it. And then, of course, then we could just standard cout all that stuff as well, just like we did before. Okay, width. We'll just show the values in the console. Singular, enter. Whenever you're copying and pasting, guys, just make sure that you update the information before you forget. Okay? And then we'll just go one more for area. Okay, and build, and we should get the same results. 5 times 12. Our width is 5. Our length is 12. That's correct. That's what's stored in memory, right? So when we run the compiler, it's accessing that information off the stack, guys, right? Okay, we haven't got into talking about dynamic memory or pointers and such. We'll get there. But right now, just be aware, we're accessing the information, which is kind of set up statically, and it's on the stack. Okay, it's accessing the information off the stack. All right, get used to these. Again, that's more coding lingo you have to remember. Okay, guys, what does on the stack and off the stack mean, right? We're accessing the information on the stack. It'll do the calculation, and it actually stores that value. Again, area is also on the stack, right? It's kind of getting, I guess, probably calculated dynamically. And then stored back in the area. I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but really we have to run the program for the calculation to happen. So logically, in my mind, I'm thinking that calculation's done dynamically during runtime. Okay, anyways, I think that's going to be it. I appreciate you guys suffering through this with me and learning. I hope I'm not overdoing it, guys. I'm trying to keep you guys interested and explaining it so that you can get it, right? Again, the asterisk symbol is the multiplication, right? We've already talked about that. So use short is a type definition. Some programmers say type deft. So if you hear that coding lingo, type deft, that's what it means, okay? I don't commonly see this, but it's probably used in higher end code maybe, or long, huge applications, I would imagine. In the beginning, I was kind of using this, and then I just kind of went away from it. So it's solely entirely up to you. Again, if you're just using a standard int, there's no sense creating a type def. But it makes sense for an unsigned short int, right? Or an unsigned long. Let's say you could do it for a long int or a long, because there is a long. Right? Long, which we really don't need to get into, but you could call it a ULL, so you don't have to type unsigned long all the time, right? So it makes sense to kind of use it for that purpose, right? That's solely entirely up to you. Depends on the data type you want to use. Again, if it's just int is easy and quick to type. So it doesn't make sense to type def and int. Alright, makes sense? I hope so. When to use short and when to use long. Okay, again, we have short and long, right? There's my little... There, you can get this off the internet. If you just search data types, like I don't have long here, but there's a larger chart on this, okay? I just have the most basic one, I guess. That's all you really need for when we're learning, okay? One source of confusion for new C+ programmers is when to declare a variable to be type long and when to declare it to be type short. I don't know why that would be confusing. Right? Again, if you know what your ending value is going to be, like look at the range, right? It's pretty straight. I don't know why that would be confusing. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're probably Python coders. The rule when understood is fairly straightforward. If any chance exists that the value you want to put into your variable will be too big for its type, use a larger type. That makes sense. So if, let's say you're doing an area calculation, right? I would assume, right? If you have small values, let's say your initial values that you're declaring are going to be in this range, I would use short, right? If you're planning in your code to only use positive integers, by all means, use short. But take note, like if you're calculating two shorts that are 65,000 and you're multiplying together, your return type or you're going to want a larger range, right? Where I would guess you would want to use maybe an unsigned long int, right? I don't know what 65,535 squared is. I could do it, but it's going to be, it's definitely going to fall in this range. So my point is, your initial variables could be shorts, but you might want to use the long for your calculation. A sub to may overflow because that's wider type. I don't know what it's yelling at me for there. Arithmetic, int arithmetic. I don't know, maybe they have to be the same. Here, show potential. Or is it because I have to cast? Hold up. What? I'm thinking maybe this. Maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing. Being explicit here. Is that what it is? Somebody over because it's assigned to a wider type. Show potential fixes. It's not really cast subs expression to a wider type. I really wasn't prepared for that. I don't want to research it right now, okay? I just don't want to. Okay? Again, I don't normally use this stuff anyways, so I've never come across that. So, let's continue. Okay, so the rule is, that's kind of what I was trying to get at. I'm thinking, like, if you're going to do a multiplication of two shorts, you might end up with a return where it's going to be bigger than a U short, right? It might be larger than the range. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So, I guess it would help to kind of do some pre-calculations to figure out what your largest value return type's going to be. You might want to be aware of those things. Okay, so the unsigned short integers, assume that they are 2 bytes. Okay, can hold a value only up to 65,535. Signed short integers split their values between positive and negative numbers, and thus their maximum value is only half that of the unsigned. Okay, trying to deeper understand this. Although unsigned long integers can hold an extremely large number, right? I'm going to just go like this so you can see. Pop, pop. Okay. Right there. That is still quite finite. If you need a larger number, you'll have to go to float or double. Okay. looking at this again, would we use a long, right? I don't know what my range is for a long again. I was assuming it was longer than a long, but again, it's not something I normally use, not for what I'm doing. I would imagine a lot of this is used for like large scale, anything with lots of data, right? Large data calculating type applications. I would imagine that's when these are used. If you need a larger number, you'll have to go to float or double, and then you lose some precision, right? So be aware of that. Floats and doubles can hold extremely large numbers, and that's true, they do, right? Maybe that's what I needed. Maybe a long wasn't enough, right? I didn't do the calculation. I assumed that it would fall in that range. Floats and doubles can hold extremely large numbers, but only the first 7 or 9 digits are significant on most computers, right? So I think what that means is your return, for example, like let's say it's pi. I don't know all the numbers, but it's only going to display so many characters. It's not going to display like that many, right? You following along? It's only going to display so many significant digits. Sigdigs, if you weren't sleeping in mathematics class. This means that the number is rounded off after that many digits, right? Probably normal rounding rules apply. Shorter variables use up less memory. These days, memory is cheap and life is short. I mean, computers are getting better, faster, right? But the RAM and stuff isn't getting any cheaper, I don't think. I haven't designed a PC in a minute because, again, I enjoy doing it, but everybody wanted to buy those off-the-shelf pleb throwaway potato PCs, I guess. All right. Feel free to use int, which is probably 4 bytes on your machine. And again, like I said, int is common, right? But guys, I know we're talking about these things, but you do need to be aware of it, right? Just store it in the old memory banks. You know about it. Whether you use it or apply it, that's up to you. Again, the most common ones you will use, char, int. Maybe you might want short or unsigned short, maybe. Floats and doubles, definitely using those. You can see that they can store so much. The range is huge. I don't know if these numbers are accurate. Again, they're displayed here kind of like in alright, to the power of 38. That's what it is. It's to plus or minus to the power of 38. I don't know. This must mean how many digits are displayed. Aha. That makes kind of more sense. I never really took a deep dive into understanding what they were doing here. But you can see to 10 to the power of 308. Like that's like you can't even count the stars in space. That's how many there are. It's just huge. We can't even count that high. I don't know. Like, what's the highest number somebody's actually counted out loud? You imagine? I'm gonna end this there. We're gonna talk about wrapping, right? In regards to data type. What does wrapping mean, right? That's another thing that we need to understand. Okay, I'll just show you this right here. Remember the integer grid, all negative numbers, so 0 is center, all negative values go to the left negatively and infinitely, and from 0, all positive numbers go to the right infinitely and exponentially. I don't know why I threw that in there, but they're definitely infinite. Okay, so be aware of that. We're going to talk about wrapping in the next video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this. I hope so. I mean, the theory is a little bit painstaking, but again, guys, you have to have this knowledge. Okay, you don't have to dive deep into it, but you do need to be aware of it. Okay? And then we're going to get into wrapping and show you kind of what happens under the hood with these data types. All right, guys? I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Every single one of you beautiful, intelligent people with 120 plus IQs. You guys are all awesome. Let's go. Johnny with Whiskey Tango Coding. I appreciate you. Thank you for being part of this. Whoever you are, wherever you are, take care. Have an awesome rest of your day, evening, night. And Johnny's saying peace out, guys. Peace.